Yo, what's poppin', Low Gang? Today we're doing my second ever rant for the second channel. It is severely thunderstorming outside. If you hear rain pattering against the car windows, that is why. I record in my car. It has good acoustics, okay? And also there's people in my house, and I don't want them to hear the weird stuff I tend to say for videos. This rant is from my best friend, buddy old pal for the Castaway Anime podcast, Neon Manta. He gave me $10 just for this, to say, rant about why Western animated series are low-key better than anime. Well, first of all, you sort of gave the opinion for me. But secondly, although I wouldn't say I necessarily agree with that statement, it's more so due to a lack of having seen enough Western animated series in order to make that judgment. However, well, first of all, I really want to watch Inside Job. I just haven't gotten around to it. I've had too many anime to watch. I still need to wrap up Soul Eater. And Oni, at this point in time, I haven't seen the final 2 episodes of Onimai. And yeah, I gotta watch other stuff for the podcast. I'm gonna watch Suzume soon. I've got a lot of stuff to watch in between working on things. But, that aside, I'm digressing a little bit. Although I want to watch Inside Job, I have seen in recent times The Owl House and the first 5 seasons, most of the 5th season of Regular Show. That was another thing that I wanted to watch to completion, and like always, put off indefinitely. That's my tendency with a lot of shows. But I will say Regular Show is way better than I remember it being. I love the characters and their dynamic. The dialogue is super naturalistic, but in a way that, like, they're the kinds of conversations you wish you'd have with your friends. It's very smooth-flowing, feels off the cuff for the characters saying it. The show's very funny. All the characters have endearing dynamics with each other. And obviously it's an absurdist comedy, and at every point in time the show is being as irregular as possible, which is the joke. And, that tends to be pretty funny as well. Mordecai and Rigby are amazing main characters for the show. And The Owl House, I'll be upfront with you, it's a 10 out of 10. It's, like, better than 99% of anime. Straight up. But what I tend to say... Oh, by the way, me and Neon literally did a podcast on the Owl... Not a podcast, a bunch of podcasts about the Owl House. 6 and counting. And nobody watched them. So if you feel the desire to watch me talk about the Owl House with Neon, you can go ahead and do so to see my in-depth thoughts on it. But anyway, I think that it's less about where the shows come from and more about just them being good shows in general. Good writing can come from any country, theoretically. Although, that is ignoring that, cartoons definitely have a formula to them. The 20-minute episodes tend to have an A plot and a B plot, which isn't typically the case in anime. It, at the very least, isn't nearly as ubiquitous. 10-minute anime episodes tends to follow a very different structure than 10-minute cartoon episodes, although, to be fair, I am judging this based off of limited experience with them. I did watch Adventure Time and The Amazing World of Gumball as a kid, but the cartoon episodes tend to have they tend to tell self-contained stories, whereas anime episodes will typically, they are not limited to that. They can tell, not to say that cartoons never tell continuous narratives, and obviously the self-contained stories, especially in recent times, typically further an overall narrative. An anime there's no need to give each episode a climax, it feels like. It's more so, whatever amount of plot can fit into this episode, it does, whether it has an emotional resolution or not, or whether it has a climax or a low point or whatever. There doesn't need to be a finale. The show that's popping into my head right now, as always, is Bakemonogatari, where the Mayoi snail arc, like, those are just two characters fucking talking, and there's no resolution until, like, 3 episodes of it. And the first 2 episodes just sort of end, just end wherever. It's just whatever amount of source material Shinbo and whoever the other writers were, I'm not sure, whatever they were able to shove into that span of time, they just sort of went with. There was no need to be like, okay, and now the episode has like a definitive climax, whereas cartoons, at least from my experience, tends to have more emphasis on having a climax per episode. Yeah, that's about it. See ya.